I'm Gab, he's Jules. Partly cloudy skies over West London today, but Jules, we have a big show because obviously full slate of games in Liga, in Serie A, in LaLiga, League Cup in England, plenty going on. And we're going to start, though, by talking about Real Madrid and Carlo Ancelotti, their big win. Obviously, they won 6-1 last night. Marcotti scores a hat-trick. Karim Benzema, 2 goals, 2 assists. They're looking really good. Leaving aside they're looking good, they're looking very different because the last 2 years this was the team that stout defending, 1 goal here, 1 goal there. We thought Ancelotti was just kind of like an older, chunkier version of Zidane in his style. Why is it so different?
More rhythm, I think more energy. Maybe the fact that in a game like this one against Mallorca, I think the average age of the team was 25. There was a lot of youngsters, Rodrigo, Camavinga, Valverde, Vinicius, Miguel.
So the younger players score more goals than older players?
No, I think, but maybe that kind of energy helps. Right. I think the intent and the intention from Carlo Ancelotti are more attacking than with the Zinedine Zidane, which I think was more into controlling the game, controlling the tempo of the game as well. And we've said it from the beginning. I think this is a team that will concede chances, and they conceded goals against Mallorca. There was a couple of other times where maybe they could have conceded, but they will score more goals as well because I think that kind of mindset that they have, and it's certainly far more entertaining to watch. And credit goes to Carlo Ancelotti. And it's not a criticism of Zinedine Zidane. It's just a different way of playing. What we've seen, I think, has been really entertaining.
I wonder if there's a correlation to Toni Kross and Modric not being there. And it's obviously not a knock on them. Casemiro wasn't there last night either, of course.
Yeah.
But when you have that older midfield, right, you know you can control the game. When you've got Camavinga and Valverde in there, great players, but your temptation is to go out and saying, like, let these Broncos buck. Let's let them run.
Yeah, completely.
Whereas Kroos and Modric, you might be like, hey, let's pick our spots a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. And I think Kroos is coming back training, and he will come back at some point in this team. But maybe in some games, of course, you can still play that legendary midfield 3. But maybe in other games, it's either Modric and Kroos with some of the youngsters. I like Asensio in a more midfield position against Mallorca. He scored the 3 goals in very different position than when he usually gets the ball when he's on the wing. And I'm not sure being stuck to the touchline as a right winger, for example, helps him massively in his game. I think it's more interesting to have him a bit inside, more at the heart of the game. And certainly that hat-trick was pretty good for him, considering we know that he's a player that needs that kind of confidence to keep getting going and not being consistent like he's been the last 2 years.
We're going to get into Asensio more and the different options there, but we take a step back again, I think, and talk about Karim Benzema and the level that he's playing at. But I just want to start from this point. Karim Benzema has been around a long, long time. He was a prodigy at Lyon before he even went to Real Madrid for a lot of money. At Real Madrid for many years. He played, he was sharing time with Higuain. The whole Mourinho hunting with a cat, hunting with a dog joke. He was the blue-collar guy who did the running for Cristiano and Bale and whatever. Did he always have this in his locker, or did
always.
Or is there a moment when he improved?
Always. I think he's improved through all his career, but I think you learn from the lows that you have, or even the highs. You learn from other players, you learn from managers.
But why wasn't he playing like this 10 years ago? That's what I want to know. When he's like 10 years ago, when he's 24 years old, prime of your career, you're around Madrid.
But because you don't have the same experience. There's a reason why. Of course, I think there's a reason why at 34.
I'm sorry, he's a world-class player, right?
Yeah.
At 24 years old, even without all this experience, right? Robert Lewandowski, Cristiano Ronaldo, all these guys are playing.
Cristiano and Ibrahimovic scored more goals after they turned 30 than before they turned 30.
Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo was pretty darn good at 24, yeah?
Yeah, but it was not, I think he was still learning. And I think Karim, maybe his maturity came a bit later than Lewandowski or Cristiano or Messi or the others. Maybe he's learned a lot about himself and the others in the last few years. Also, I think that he's never been the main guy. I think that could have never kind of worked until he was the main guy, until he became the main guy.
I think it's a great question because I think it speaks to managers identifying talent and figuring out the best way for talent to flourish, the way pieces fit together, the way we judge players, sometimes devoid of their context. And we're going to get much more into this on the Gab and Juls podcast.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.